Okay, so it's time to buy insurance. You're looking at all these different titles: agent, broker. What's the actual difference? It can feel kind of confusing, but figuring out who you're really talking to is one of the most powerful things you can do. So, in this explainer, we're going to break it all down and demystify these roles so you can make a much smarter choice.
So let's just get right to the heart of it, right? When you're sitting across from someone ready to buy a policy, have you ever stopped and wondered, is this person really on my side? Or are they just working for the big insurance company? The answer to that question changes everything. And that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
All right, let's start with a big picture term. You might not hear this one every day, but legally, anyone who's licensed to sell insurance is called an insurance producer. Just think of it like a giant umbrella. Both agents and brokers, they all fall under this one main category. Knowing that is kind of the first piece of the puzzle.
And here it is. This is the single most important distinction you need to remember. An agent represents the insurance company. A broker, on the other hand, represents you, the buyer. See, an agent's contracted to sell an insurer's products, but a broker, they work for you. Their job is to shop around and find the policy that actually fits what you need. Their loyalty is supposed to be with you.
Now, this quote here, it's not just some boring technicality, it has huge real-world consequences. It means that if there's ever a problem, a dispute over your policy, that agent who sold it to you legally represents the insurance company's interests, not yours. And that's a pretty critical distinction to have in the back of your mind.
But of course, it gets a little more complicated because even inside that agent category, there's another layer we've got to peel back. Just knowing someone's an agent is really only half the story. The very next question you should ask is, what kind of agent are they?
And this slide breaks down the two main types. On one side, you have the captive agent. These folks work for a single insurance company, and they can only sell that company's policies. Think of them as a specialist for just one brand. Then, on the other side, you have the independent agent. They work for themselves and have contracts with lots of different companies, which means they can give you a much wider range of choices.
Now, here's where we go behind the curtain a little bit. There's this whole infrastructure that supports all these agents you meet, and there are three main systems that determine how they're all organized. And if you understand these, you get a real insider's view of who you're actually dealing with.
So these systems are the career agency, the personal producing general agency, and the independent agency. I know, they might sound like a bunch of industry jargon, but trust me, the way they're set up directly impacts the advice and the options you're going to get as a customer.
Think of this as your quick cheat sheet, your exam tip. The career agency, they're all about building a staff. They recruit and train agents. The personal producing general agency, or PPGA for short, is totally focused on one thing, selling insurance. And the independent agency system is built for those agents who represent a ton of different companies.
Okay, first up, the career agency. This usually works like a branch office for one of the big insurance companies. Their main job isn't just selling insurance, it's actually recruiting, training, and supervising a whole sales force of captive agents. They're basically building an army of sellers for one brand. So for you, that means an agent from this system is going to be an expert on one company's products, but they'll have zero ability to tell you if a competitor has a better rate. The PPGA model is a different beast altogether. Unlike the career agency, these guys are not focused on building big teams. Their mission is super simple: sell insurance. That's it. While they might have a small staff, their main goal is production. What's interesting is the agents here are technically employees of the PPGA, not the insurance company itself. So you're dealing with someone whose entire focus is the sale, which can be pretty efficient. And finally, we have the independent agency system. This connects right back to that independent agent we were talking about earlier. These agents work for themselves, they have contracts with all sorts of insurers, and this is the most important part, they own their book of business. So what's the biggest advantage for you? Continuity. Since they own their business, your relationship is with them, not some giant faceless corporation. If you have to file a claim, you're probably calling your agent directly, not some massive call center. So, we've talked about agents and brokers, but in today's world, you might be thinking, well, what if I just bypass them completely? And you know what? It's becoming more and more common, and there are two main ways people do it. So the two big alternatives are direct selling and mass marketing. Direct selling is when you buy straight from the insurer's website. Mass marketing is when you see an ad online or on TV and just sign up. Now, this can be really fast and sometimes even a little cheaper, but the trade-off is you are completely on your own when it comes to understanding all the fine print, or worse, trying to navigate a really complex claim. So why does any of this insider info actually matter to you? Because understanding this whole landscape, knowing who represents who, what their business model is, it completely changes the game. It transforms you from just a passive buyer into a genuinely empowered consumer.
So how do you actually put this knowledge to work? Here's a super simple 3-step action plan. Step 1, identify. Are you talking to an agent or a broker? Step 2, ask. If it's an agent, are they captive or independent? And step 3, always understand who they officially represent in the deal. Following these simple steps puts you right in the driver's seat.
So the next time you shop for insurance, you're not just going to be a customer. You're going to be an informed buyer. You now have the right questions to ask, and you have the knowledge to pick the professional whose setup and loyalty best aligns with what you actually need. The power is officially in your hands.